All right. Well, that's the reads there. Let me. I'm going to do some of these other things. These other things. What are these? The questions that people have. And I'll see how long my voice lasts, but I really need to stop talking so I can finally get past this. All right, chip shortage. Dear Billy Gates Burr, on Thursday podcast, you mentioned skepticism on the computer chip shortage. The reality is that this is true, and it's caused by three primary reasons. The first is that modern products utilize far more chips than ever before. Think of all the cell phones, advanced vehicles, and even connected appliances. That is true. They figure out every way for every device to be hooked up to the internet or Bluetooth so they can monitor what you're doing in your house. The second issue was that, when I was a kid, the blender, you actually turned it with your hand. That's not true, but, my grandmother did. The second issue was that the pandemic crippled supply chains and chip manufacturers were hit hard. Did that happen? Seemed to be there was plenty of food. Finally, there's a huge bottleneck when it comes to chip manufacturing, as between 80 to 90% of the world's advanced chips are made by one company. Well, that's fucking stupid. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, known as TSMC. Oh, yeah, they publicly traded? I think that'd be a good thing to invest in and not think globally. Think about myself. The last point also is one of the major reasons why the U.S. and Western world does not want China to take. The last point is also the major reason the U.S. and Western world does not want China to take over Taiwan. Well, why don't we, in the meantime, just come up with our own fucking, semiconductor manufacturing? Why don't we do that instead of, because you know what? Then we wouldn't have an excuse to go to war and keep our fucking economy going. There's slight good news. I mean, how fucking easy would that be to solve? Huh? Okay, we'll make our own semiconductor fucking microchips. Why don't we just fucking do that? Why don't we become self-sufficient like we used to be? There's slight good news. The U.S. passed the CHIPS Act this year, which was a bipartisan piece of legislation that is attempting to revitalize the U.S. chip manufacturing. Look at that. And includes $280 billion in investment. That's awesome. All right, good for us. We finally did it. I like to think that me screaming about it after they already decided to do it was a major part. So you're welcome, America. All the best and go fuck yourself in your new truck. I'm going to get that truck and one more truck, and then that's going to be my truck collection. I'm going to get a Ford F-450 regular cab. And then that's it. That's going to be my Lamborghini and my Ferrari, an F-250 and an F-450. I'm not hurting anybody, right? All right, unelected leaders. I think I can read I got two more. I'll just read these, and then I got to fucking rest up here. Unelected leaders. Dear Bill, I wanted to bring a praise to your podcast world that you may find interesting. A phrase. Oh, I thought I was getting praise. My brother has a reasonable and measured interest conspiracy theory. He doesn't think JFK Jr. is still alive or anything. Overall, I don't pay much attention, and my dad and I don't really follow stuff like he does, but every now and then we have to give it up to him. He's been talking about unelected leaders for a few years now, and the phrase just passed through my head because I don't care. Recently, I've seen these videos popping up from these meetings where world leaders are listening to Bond-like villains who are, get this, openly using the phrase New World Order. It's really bizarre. I don't think you could get away with something like that 20 years ago. You absolutely could have. Trump exposed that the fucking media has no teeth. Journalism is dead. Nobody gives a shit. Like when he ran in 2016 and that woman was trying to get him going, you said this about women, you said that about women. And he said, nah, I said that about Rosie O'Donnell. He got a laugh, and the woman was like, no, you've said that about other women. And he goes, you're probably right. And that was it. My whole time watching politics up, growing up, I watched everybody. All they did was dodge and deny. Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. With a stupid, stern look on his face. Right? You denied. And Trump would, I fucking, whatever. Yeah, I did it. Okay, you're probably right. And I win the election. So, nothing would have happened. The same way they go from global warming to changing to climate change, and they're always doing that. They don't give a fuck. The same way the New York Times wants to talk about how fucking nuts it is that sports gambling is now become so fucking normalized, and they think that's crazy. So who do they go after? Do they go after the NFL? Do they go after, Major League Baseball and all these? No. They go after the owner of a sports website. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to fuck with their money. And they make too much money off of those things, so they just go after an individual. That's how it's always been. And it always will be, because at the end of the day, until we topple the fucking, bankers running our fucking lives, it's always going to be this way. Anyway, if we're all taking orders from weirdos and our vote officially doesn't count anymore, will you still be doing a podcast so I can hear your reaction to all of it? If they let me, yeah. It's basically how it works. Old dad question. Sir William the Red of Freckleton. I like that. That was insulting and regal all at the same time. I want to quiz you about having kids later in life. I'm 48 years old, never married, no kids. However, I met an amazing woman, and marriage is almost certainly in the cards. She just turned 40 and has 2 children from a previous marriage, but assures me she would love to have another child. Do it! I'm kind of freaked out about being an old dad. Nah, dude. Fucking old dads are great. You chill, you're settled in your life, you know who the fuck you are. You have all of this life experience. That's how I look at it. If I had a kid in my 20s and 30s, I don't know. I would have been younger, but other than that, I was a fucking lunatic. Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, you were around my age when you had your first child. I was. How hard was it to adjust? How tired did you get? Is there anything else I should be asking? Worries and concerns? How hard? You don't even adjust. You just do it. First of all, you just can't fucking believe you have a kid, and it's fucking awesome. And you basically, if you love your kid and you're in their life, you basically just made a friend for life. Like, that's how I look at my kids. I know I have the responsibility of raising them, but those are like my buddies. And we hang out and we have fun, and we just try to make each other laugh. Like, my family is very silly. My wife, as you guys know, is fucking hilarious. So we have a lot of fun. And one of the great things is you get to undo a lot of stuff that you didn't like about your own childhood and do stuff differently. And you get to keep the stuff that you liked. And no, there's no worries. There's no concern. Did you get tired? Yeah. Absolutely, you get tired. But, ask for help. That whole thing, it takes a village. Like, you should have relatives and in-laws and all that coming over to help you out while you nap and all that. That's the way it's done. That whole fucking nuclear family that people think is the old school way of doing it, where you did it yourself, that wasn't old school. That was the new way of doing it. We just grew up in it. And your parents had no help, and your mom was a zombie, and your dad was working. That stuff, that's not the way you do it. Like, you make sure that you get help. And if you don't have any relatives around, I would pay to have somebody help you out. And if you can't afford to do that, I would sell some shit or fucking cut out a hobby for that, to get through that point until they sleep through the night. Once they sleep through the night, that's like a game changer. So, yeah, the first 6 months are a little rough when it comes to that. But if you're on the same page with your wife, you guys can kind of switch off sleeping and that type of stuff. But, having kids is the greatest thing I ever did. And we went out to breakfast today, the whole family. And the kids got French toast. I got avocado toast. What did my wife get? She got a breakfast bagel. And we were just sitting there, having a great time, and then looking at my wife and just smiling like, can you believe this is our life? This is awesome. So I wouldn't, obviously your life is going to change, but it's going to change for the better. I feel, just my opinion, take it or leave it. All right, I guess that's it, the old dad question. All right, and with that, speaking of old dads, old grandpa here has to take some cough syrup and shut his fucking goddamn yap so I can get past this cough. All right, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. I hope you have a happy, safe one. Don't take the bait. Just don't get into an argument, all right? And tonight, Wednesday night, when I'm doing this is the greatest night to be in your early 20s and going back to the bar and seeing all the fucking people you went to high school with and just this is one of the great nights of drinking. I guess you can hear this on Thursday, last night. I mean, that, the whole fucking weekend. Reconnect with people, maybe someone you wanted to hook up with. I mean, it's just fucking awesome. I always love the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, after you've graduated high school, during your college years, while people still come home before everybody splinters off into whatever lives they're going to leave, is the best 4 Wednesdays of your fucking life. All right, that's it.